Hi, this is Ron with Amazing Mile Marker Stops, and we're in St. Mary's Boatyard, St. Mary's, Georgia. Previously on Amazing Mile Marker Stops, we get schooled on dolphin behavior. We visit Marker 107 Restaurant. This is Marker 107 Restaurant. And an approaching tropical storm forces us to dock after dark. Elixir was long overdue for a bottom cleaning. And we were starting to see it in her speed. So we'd actually been trying to get into the yard for quite some time, but due to the hurricanes and the popularity of the particular yard that we wanted to go to, which was a do-it-yourself yard, they didn't have any spaces available for months and months and months. And so time dragged on, and it was finally pushing almost 3 years since we'd had our bottom cleaned before we finally got a slot in the yard. We have a few things on our list, of course, the bottom being cleaned and repainted. We had 2 through holes that were really hard to access. You had to lay down on your belly, hang your head down in a hatch into the bilge, and reach way up underneath the deck to get to these through holes, and one of them had begun to leak. Even with the valve completely shut off, it was leaking, and there were no hoses attached to either of these 2 through holes. They were underneath the aft head deck, and I assumed that they were at one time used in plumbing for the aft head, but we no longer use them. So in our remodel of the aft head, which is ongoing, I'd lifted the deck up, and you could just sit there and look straight down at those 2 fittings. So I said, this is the time to get those fittings removed before the one that was leaking sprung a big leak and sunk our boat. So that was on our list, to get both of them removed. We don't use them. I didn't want them on the boat. We needed our stuffing boxes repacked, and I wanted to do some painting on the hull. As you may have seen in other videos, I had been doing some painting, but when you get close to the water line, it's really difficult to paint when you're in the water. So I wanted to do some painting, particularly of the lower areas of the hull, while we were out in the yard. Also, lastly but not leastly, it was time for a new swim platform. Our redneck swim platform had served us well for a number of years, but it was time for a real swim platform. So we've got one being manufactured. It's going to be shipped to the yard, and we'll get it installed before we leave. So that's the main things on our list. There'll be some other miscellaneous things we may do, but we're looking forward to it. And so we're going to get underway and head towards St. Mary's Boatyard. path to the St. Mary's boatyard took us past the Golden Ray, a car-carrying ship that capsized in September of 2019. We weren't able to get close enough for video, but Marie did get a few pictures with her telephoto lens. The Golden Ray made national headlines as they searched for days looking for some missing crew members, before eventually finding them alive in the engine room. After viewing the giant ship laying on her side in the Sound, we continued on our journey to St. Mary's boatyard. They're blocking the boat up. Take some pressure off their straps. And then the first thing that they do is pressure wash the bottom of your boat. This gets off most of the living organisms. And you can see underneath the boat is a big drain. Most yards have this so that what they wash off will just fall back into the water. As you can see, we were needing to be pulled. Got a little bit of growth on the bottom there. With our bottom clean, it was now time to move Elixir out of the way of other boats launching, while she spends the next few weeks being worked on. I'm always impressed at the precision of these travel lift operators. Here, because of a sailboat on the other side, he has to just miss this van by mere inches. And here, several weeks later, after Elixir had been moved to another location and other boats put around her, the travel lift is actually up underneath the sailboat on our port side. And you can see he's barely clearing this trimaran on our starboard side. Alright, she's all blocked up and ready to begin her transformation. Within minutes of being blocked up, the painters jumped on the boat, getting the bottom prepped for painting. And within just a few days, the bottom was looking good with a new paint job. You can see how popular this yard is by the number of boats crammed into every nook and cranny.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small.
Part of the popularity of this yard is it's close to the ICW, which you can see just over the trees. But to get to it, you have to go up this winding river, which protects it from the water kicking up in a storm. And of course, the trees form a natural barrier to the wind. Once they were done painting the bottom, then it was time for me to get to work. So first, I masked off all the wooden rub rails. After putting a coat of white primer on them, I then went back and painted every one of them white. Previously, Elixir's rub rails had been, some of them were painted blue, some of them were varnished, and at some point some of them had been painted white. But we decided to paint all of them white because we felt that the different colors broke up the boat and made it distracting to look at her and made her look smaller out on the water. So we're going to try an all white theme this time. After the rub rails, I painted the hull of the boat a nice shiny white. And Elixir went from this to this. We were very pleased with the outcome. The two through holes having already been removed, the only thing left was the swim platform. And with only hours left before our projected launch, the crew threw themselves fully at the task of getting our new swim platform installed. After mounting our new ladder on the swim platform, it was finally time to splash Elixir. If you'd like to help us make more of these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free to you, but helps us more than you know. And don't forget to check out the nation's largest free online travel guide for boaters, AmazingMileMarkerStops.com. And like us on Facebook. And remember, don't just cruise.
Visit Amazing Mile Marker Stops.
We have a few things on our list. Of course, the bottom being cleaned and repainted. The seagulls screaming in the background.